Have you ever had to submit a resolution center claim on Airbnb and it was denied? On today's video, I'll show you everything you need to do to get your claims approved the first time and get the money into your account faster. Welcome to another episode of Airbnb Uncovered. I'm Matt, the creator of AirbnbUncovered.com and Airbnb Superhost. On this channel, I uncover some of the best kept hosting secrets, as well as share with you everything that I've ever learned after hosting over 3,000 guests. My tips, tricks, and best practices are all focused on helping new hosts earn more revenue, attract the best guests, and achieve superhost status faster. Damage to your home from guests is super frustrating. It can make you so angry and cause you to feel so disrespected. I mean, you do all this work to prepare your home for guests and they can't even take care of the place. Honestly, it's one of the worst parts about being a host on Airbnb. Luckily, if you follow my two-step method to attracting the best guests and avoiding the worst ones, this likely won't happen to you very often, if at all. But accidents do happen. You can and you should claim for minor damages or excessive cleaning. It could be a stained rug, a broken lamp, or just a general mess left from a guest that didn't really clean up after themselves. The Resolution Center is not just reserved for mega incidents. I bet the average claim on Airbnb is something from a few $100s to maybe $1,000. Briefly, let's go over how the Resolution Center works, and then I'll tell you exactly how to file a claim that will maximize your chances of getting paid out. You use the Resolution Center if you come back to your house after a guest checks out and you find damage or something that you want your guest to reimburse you for. To facilitate this, you would open a claim on the Resolution Center. You must open your claim within 24 hours of the guest checkout or before the next guest checks in. The Resolution Center will then notify your guests that you're seeking money from them to cover the costs of something. There are 3 options available to the guests after you open a claim. The first is to pay the claim, the second is to offer a different amount, or 3 to decline the claim altogether. The guest then gets 3 days to decide which option they want to go with. If the guest doesn't respond in 3 days or offers you a lower amount or denies the claim altogether, you then get the option to involve Airbnb. Airbnb will act as a mediator and work with you and the guest to get the claim paid out. The first part of this process is for Airbnb to contact the guest and ask them to pay your claim. The guest can still refuse to pay even if Airbnb is asking them to do so. Assuming your guest refuses to pay, this is where the Airbnb host guarantee comes into play. And with that comes the start of a new process. Now, instead of getting your guest to pay, you must prove to Airbnb that your claim is legitimate and that it should be paid out by Airbnb. And this is where many hosts get into trouble. The most common pitfalls are that the host doesn't push for their claim to be processed under the host guarantee, so that the claim is closed as soon as the guest tells Airbnb they don't want to pay. Or the host doesn't provide the necessary documentation to validate their claim, and then Airbnb denies the payout and closes the case. So now, let's go through what you need to do to get your claims paid out. When I'm creating a Resolution Center claim, I always begin with the end in mind. I know that often my claims are going to be denied by the guest. So I create the request knowing that most often I'm going to need to prove my case to Airbnb to get paid out. Since the Airbnb standards for proof are generally pretty high, this gives me the double benefit of providing the guests every single piece of evidence up front in an attempt to convince them that they need to pay, ideally avoiding involving Airbnb altogether. So how do I do this? There are 3 steps I always take. The first step is to document everything. Take lots and lots of clear pictures and take pictures of everything. If you have a big claim, you could have between 40 and 60 pictures. Remember, Airbnb isn't going to send someone to your house to do an inspection. They rely exclusively on what you upload. You can also take a video, but submitting the video to Airbnb is hard because they can't access external websites to download your file. Instead, you have to break the video into smaller segments that can be sent via email, which is a bit annoying. Remember to take pictures before you do anything. It can be tempting to just take a few pictures and then start cleaning and repairing, only to realize that something is worse than you originally thought. But then you have nothing to photograph since you've already remedied this situation or you're halfway through it. And I've been caught in that before, so please don't do that. One thing that is hard to document, though, is smells. Since you can't take a picture of a smell, instead take a picture of what produced the smell. If you come back to your home and find that it smells like smoke, for example, I guarantee you that you will find ashes somewhere in your home. You just have to look for them. If a guest is careless enough to smoke inside your house, then they're going to be careless enough in hiding the evidence, so it'll be there somewhere. I then create my write-up for my claim. This is the second part. And this is not a story about how upset and distraught you are, because trust me, you're going to be both of those things. Instead, limit your write-up to just the facts, nothing else. List every item you would like replaced and the value for each. Also include the cost of services, for example, an invoice from a cleaner for extra cleaning. To prove the value, you're going to need one of two things, either a receipt or an invoice, or a link to a similar item on the web. Then total all this up and that's the value of your claim. This is also where the timing gets a bit complicated. Remember at the beginning of the video I said you only get 24 hours or before your next guest checks in to create a claim. So for items that you can't easily put a value on, just put a guesstimate in and note that the real cost will be forthcoming. Don't let this part hold you back from submitting a claim. You can always refine costs once Airbnb is involved. And to do that, you'll attach your proof or your receipts to emails that you send to Airbnb. And the last step is to communicate. Generally, I don't send messages to my guests reminding them about my resolution center requests. I let the system do the work, and if they don't respond, I'll go through the host guarantee process. One thing to note here is that the resolution center request does not appear in the guest message thread. I believe the guests are notified via an actual email and sometimes through a notification on their Airbnb account. At this point, it is of vital importance to keep all communication over Airbnb. So if a guest sends you a text or a WhatsApp message, reply to them on Airbnb and paraphrase or cut and copy the guest message along with your reply. A few points about communicating with Airbnb. Sometimes communicating with them can be a little frustrating. They can be slow to respond. But you have to own this process and keep pushing for an update if you're not getting one. If you have escalated to Airbnb and no one has contacted you after about a week, call in to get someone to pick up the claim. If after your guest has declined and your Airbnb rep tells you that since the guest has declined, the case is now closed, do not take this as an answer. Push for the case to be reviewed by a supervisor and paid out under the host guarantee. In many cases, you will be eligible for some sort of payment under the host guarantee. And in many instances, Airbnb won't give you an exact reason for denying the claim. But usually it is because they think you haven't provided enough documentation to substantiate your claim. So remind them that you've taken pictures of all the damages and you have provided receipts or links for every single item you have listed. And don't be surprised if this process takes between a few weeks to maybe a month. Question: have you had an experience where Airbnb denied paying your resolution center claim? Leave it in the comments below. I'm kind of feeling like this episode has sounded like one of those commercials on TV for a law firm wanting to take on your disability claim. I assure you this is different. You're not trying to maximize your claim. Instead, you're just seeking to be compensated for what you're owed. And I think it goes without saying, but I can't guarantee that you're going to get paid out. But I do think that if you follow the 3 steps that I just outlined, taking pictures of everything, creating a clear and factual write-up for your case, and owning the process, then your chances of getting paid out will increase dramatically. Please, please, please remember, needing to file a resolution center claim is rare. If you're being choosy with your guests, then it's probably not going to happen. So please don't let this video deter you from starting a hosting business. Instead, anticipate that this might happen. I know many hosts who have never had to claim anything, and I know of many others who have had to make a claim in maybe 1 out of 100 stays, and they're never major. And also, just remember, you don't need to have a disastrous incident in order to file a claim. I bet most claims are under $500. As always, I'm trying to provide new hosts with practical advice that they can use to earn more money and to only host the best guests. If I've done that for you in this video, then please give it a thumbs up or rate it highly if you're asked. Hopefully you want more tips from me, and if so, please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell. All of these actions, liking, subscribing, clicking on the notification bell, they go a long way towards building this channel, since YouTube will see that my videos are liked by viewers and will then in turn show my videos higher in search results so that more people can see my videos. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye for now.